Well, we're all hung. We hung the stand this morning. We're back in the same place as last weekend, same east wind. We'll see what happens. We got a couple of trails running through here. The conditions aren't the best. It's, maybe mid to high 40s. It's not that cold. Hopefully we'll get another opportunity at a nice buck like we did last weekend, and if so, we'll pull the trigger this time. So things got a little crazy. Heard a bunch of grunting, and I think it was 3 bucks and a doe, and then a spike came through after them. I assume it was a spike. I couldn't see horns, but he was on that doe's trail. But that buck must have snort wheezed 8 times. He looked like a big 4-point. I would have probably taken him had he gotten close enough, but he was out about 50 yards in the thick. Crazy though, man. He was snort wheezing, running those other bucks off. The one buck that got close is a buck I saw last weekend in here. I think it was like a 4x2 or 4x3. Kind of a crazy looking deer, but he got here in about 30 yards. That other buck wasn't having it though. I was perfectly downwind of him. I could smell them, man, when they got in here. She must be hot. I think at one point I even heard her grunt at the buck. And that's not something I've ever heard. Obviously does grunt, but, or bleat, whatever you want to say. It's kind of weird. It was like she was coming to him, and he was keeping the other bucks off. That was pretty crazy, but he was definitely the dominant buck. I don't know. I didn't recognize the deer or anything. I don't think I've ever seen him, but he just looked like a big, I don't know, big old fork is what he was. But he was definitely the dominant buck. I would have definitely taken him had he gotten over here. Unfortunately, they just didn't get in range. About 50, 60 yards. But awesome encounter. I mean, I don't think I've heard that many snort wheezes in my life. I just heard that many in, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. I guess that's probably how long they were here, and he was running those bucks off. Super cool though, man. He got to about 40 a few times, but he was in the thicket here next to me. Well, what a crazy morning. I mean, after all that buck and the doe and the buck's chasing and all that snort wheezing, about 30 minutes later, the buck I kind of came back in here, pretty much my target buck, so I was hoping to see 8-point. And I saw last weekend, comes down, same trail, same everything, except he gets off the trail and walks 25 yards right in front of me, except his G2 on his right side is broke off. And it's not everything, but I just didn't want to shoot him with his G2 broke off like that. He already had one brow tine. It's a big, about 5 or 6 inch brow tine broke off. I didn't care so much about that, but with that G2 broke off in the past week, I just didn't really want to shoot him, so I passed on him. It's crazy, man. That was kind of a bummer, because that's the buck I really wanted to see today. But what do? Just guess you're just happy to see him. Maybe he'll make it another year. He's got to make it another 8 days. Anyway, he'll be a good deer next year. Something to chase after and a good story anyway. Well, we just had a few more deer. I mean, I had one come up behind me over here and to my south, and then I had 2 or 3. It was a buck, a doe. There may have been more deer come from the north around here. I tried to video them through the thicket. They stayed in the thicket over there, the hardwood thicket, and they never did come across into the pine thicket that I'm in. But I think it was another buck, and I couldn't tell. I probably have to watch it on the big screen to see anything about him. But Man, I don't know. I think we've seen another $6 this morning. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, $6. 2 does. Some unknowns. But it's been some deer. It's so quiet. We had, right when we sat down, the same buck that we came in here to kill walked by us again with that broken G2. We saw him this morning. He came by again right when I sat down, maybe 3 o'clock. But we haven't seen anything since. It's so quiet. I'm hoping they move right before dark. This is the last set of the year. It's kind of all or nothing here. We had another mature buck in here this morning. So, it's possible, that another one would come through too. There's probably a handful that I would shoot that we know of. Something like that. There's a few anyway, but it's the time of the year. Bucks are moving so far and so fast. You could see anything. Obviously a good time of the year for a strange red buck we don't know to show up, so. Maybe 30 minutes left, maybe. It's been a good year. Overall, I think I became a better hunter this year. And that was really what I set out to do this year. That and shoot a buck with my bow. Obviously, I did not attain that goal. It's over.